Hello, this is Dr. Benoit from McNeese State University, and I am going to walk you through the teaching cycle with pre-assessment stage one. So you'll be able to find this on our Moodle site. Just look for the folder and go ahead and click in that folder. This is also known as Major Assessment 1, and it is Stage 1 Building Respectful Relationships. In this one, just to give a very quick overview, 1A is called the Learner Academic Behavior. You will observe and record student behavior during a lesson on the chart in the template. And the template that we're referring to, we're going to look at in just a moment. And then 1B is learner preferences. Select a learner preferences inventory and administer it to the class. And then you have to attach a copy of the inventory, 5 learner samples, and a visual analysis of the results, such as a bar graph or pie chart. You can select your own, or you can use one that I've provided. So for example, here is one, and this is what we're talking about with a learning inventory. So we're talking about like learning styles. You would pass this out to the students, or you could even put it on some sort of like form, like a Microsoft form, and collect the data that way. And then they can score it themselves, or you can score it. It's kind of fun sometimes to do these and do it with the students. Take about 10 minutes or so and all do it together. And they like, seeing which their dominant learning style is. If you look on the quick guide, I have actually placed some additional ones. So if you take the time again to go back to that quick guide, I actually put a couple of different ones. One is specific for musical interests, and then there's another more lengthy one here called Learning Skills Lab. And so these are right here. So that's there for you, and that's in the quick guide that I already went over before we jumped into the module. So for this one though, with the teaching cycle with pre-assessment, this is really what we're doing. We're trying to learn about our learners. One thing is just recording their academic behavior during a lesson, and then doing a little learning styles or learning preferences inventory with them. So when you complete this, you're going to upload it to the discussion board. So this will be for module 1 by the deadline as one document. So you can do it in a PowerPoint version or with screenshots, or you can do as a Word or PDF version. Please make sure that you use this file pattern, your last name, underscore your first name, and then stage 1. This is going to be really useful because toward the end of the semester, you're going to put all of these peer-reviewed stages together, and it'll be very helpful that you have saved them correctly and properly. Here are some samples that I put for you. We'll look at in just a moment. And then this is the rubric. This is how you're going to be scored. And this is the template. So let's go ahead and open the template really quickly. And so it'll take a moment to download. This goes into detail about exactly what is expected. So again, I just did the quick overview, but when you're ready to dig into it and get to the nitty gritty, this is where you will come. This is what it looks like. The teaching cycle with pre-assessment. Remember, we are at stage 1, task 1. So this is the very beginning right here. And you can read more about the framework here, where this comes from. It's based on high leverage practices and culturally responsive teaching competencies. And these are the two that I just explained to you. Learner academic behavior. So for this one, you list any academic behavior and or participation for each learner during a content lesson being taught that aligns with the portfolio. Okay, so in this case, you can use any lesson being taught in your focus class. So any lesson in your focus class. And remember, your focus class is simply the one that you have selected that you're going to do all your major assessments for this course for this semester. So that's the only thing about the focus class. So the expectation is the evidence examples will be included in the chart for every learner. Note any academic behaviors, positive or negative, that may have impacted each learner's understanding of the content. So here is the chart that's included. And notice, remember, this is already numbered for you, which makes it really nicely. You're never going to use any names, and you use the same learner number, though, for every assessment. So at the very beginning of this, determine a number and to correlate with each one of your students. And that's what you're going to use for every major assessment. And so this can be any behaviors, positive or negative, that is associated with the understanding of the student's content. Okay. And so then the next thing is 1B, learner preferences. You determine an inventory that will allow you to learn about your learner's preferences and aligns with the content that you've chosen. So for example, I chose the one that I gave you, the first one that I gave you. It is a generic learning styles that can be used in any content area. So you're welcome to use that one. One of the other ones that I have listed is specific to music. So for example, I wouldn't use that in ELA, or I wouldn't use that in math. You can find some specific inventories just for your content area online. Feel free to Google them, math interest inventories, geometry interest inventories. Like, you can get super specific as the type of math. And then all you do is you attach a copy of the inventory that you're going to use. You will create a visual that represents an analysis of the inventory. And then you're going to attach 5 learner artifacts as evidence. And so to score highly effective, you justify how creating these groups based on the interest inventory data creates developmentally appropriate and challenging learner experiences. So this is the place that you put the academic behavior. And then after this, you would upload your the examples of your inventories and 5 artifacts. And then you decide, how am I going to group the students based on these particular results? So for example, the first one is visual learners, kinesthetic learners, and auditory learners. So you could have 3 groups here of those different types of learners and explain, how you're going to group them. You may want to use a combination of that behavioral along with some of the learning preferences for groups. So for example, maybe one group is made up of visual learners who also are perhaps seem to be a little bit disconnected during the lesson based on their lack of participation in class. And so that would be one group that you would be putting together. And so you'd use a couple of different factors there. So, and this is how you submit it. You can scan all of the following in order in one document to upload. So now I'm going to show you what a sample of this one looks like. I actually put 2 samples here. There's a math one and a science one. And I wanted to show you a way that somebody did it just in a Word document. And I also wanted to show you a way that someone did it as a PowerPoint. You can do either way, is totally fine. So this one is just the Word document. And if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, this one actually uses pieces of the template itself, I believe. So we'll take just a moment and look at this one. This is the learner academic behavior. So just in case you're kind of wondering what that looks like, what you're looking for here. Student leans back and crosses arms throughout the lesson, but still take notes before moving on, responds with thumb a few times during thumb level of understanding checks. So these are very brief observations. Notice there are no judgment calls here about whether they are smart, whether they are quote unquote disrespectful kids or something like that. Nothing like that. This is just observable, clinical. These are clinical observations that you can put. Notice, for example, this one, student lays head on desk while taking notes throughout lesson. So it doesn't make a judgment call about why he's laying his head on the desk. And then this was the inventory that was used. This one is specific to math. This particular candidate found it online. And she passed it out, and her mentor allowed her just a few minutes to do it in class. And then she was able to collect that data for those students for this one class. So this is what it's talking about when it says the visuals. So math preferences, she used a bar graph and she basically broke down each one of the questions, what each one of the students put for it. And then there are 5 artifacts from the students. Notice no names here. These are just numbers that coordinate. And then lastly, this is how she was able to group her students. So up here at the top, it says the title of the inventory is called Math Interest Inventory, and it measures common attitudes toward math on its own and in comparison to other subjects, as well as preferred types of problems and methods of solving. This inventory will allow me to look at different attitudes toward math as a whole and individual aspects of math. So these were her groupings. Learners that make up group number 1 are going to be 2, 4, 18, and 22. And here's her reason for the groupings. Reason for grouping the learners is that this group has a nice balance of students who tend to work out problems in their head and those who do not, making it crucial to work through each step of the problem for success in the group. Additionally, 2 students find math interesting in this group and 2 are unsure, meaning they could be willing to dig deeper into the math with the guidance of their peers. So for this one, she did a mixture grouping. And notice all she's doing is putting them together and justifying the choices for that small group based on specific learner data rather than just like randomly assigning learners to a group. And that's it. That's all you do for this one. I want to just show you one more example, which is the PowerPoint one. And you can do, again, you can do this either way. This particular learner resident used the exact same forms and templates, but she just found it a little bit easier to do it as screenshots that she inserted into a PowerPoint. And it actually kind of looks like it's a little bit small, but it's okay. I can enlarge these, you know, on my own computer. I can enlarge them once I enable editing on those, and I can makes it much easier to do that. So this was this is her chart of learner academic behavior. And then this is the learner preferences. She used a science survey. This was a science class. These are the learner artifacts for that. And then this is her visual. She also used a bar graph as well. And then she put her questions like this on each slide. And it shows what the survey is and then how she grouped the learners. Either one will work. And so it wraps it up for stage 1, building respectful relationships. So you need to work on that this week. And then let's please note that you are going to need to upload your rough draft of it to the discussion board, teaching cycle with pre-assessment. So you post your rough draft by Sunday, March 17th at 11. And then I want you to take time to review your peers' posts. Select one who does not yet have a response and provide feedback by Monday, 10/18. Feedback can include strengths, weaknesses, suggestions for improvement, questions, etc. And then just to kind of tell you how this works, notice that the discussion board is going to be done here. That's your rough draft to get learner feedback. And then in module 6, you're going to have an opportunity to revise all of these and submit them for your finals. And the final one will be right here, teaching cycle with pre-assessment. This is just the very first part of it. So I hope you have a wonderful week. Please reach out if you have any questions. Thank you.